Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week, we have another special episode. It's another fantastic interview with another fantastic guest. And that guest today is a writer, performer, producer, podcaster, host, and author who you might know from her years with Funhouse or game trailers, or you might know her because of her children's novel, A Night in Halloween House, or you might know her from her appearances on Drawfee or Smosh or Dropout, or maybe you even know her as the writer of the 2022 video game, Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed. She has done a million things, then that list could probably last the entire length of this episode. But instead of listing off all of her amazing credits, I will instead just introduce her. It is the one, the only, Elyse Willems.
Jack of all trades, master of none is basically what I got from that intro. But thank you so much. That was I can't believe the research you had to do. I apologize.
I love digging out those little, I'm like, wait a minute, I have to follow this thread and figure out how this happened or where this came from. And the video game one was completely news to me. I didn't realize that you had written a Ghostbusters video game. I feel like I've seen all the appearances in the book, but somehow I missed the Ghostbusters.
I'm so bad at promoting myself, really, really bad at promoting myself. And that is also one of those things where it's a whole team of people making a video game doing much more impressive things for it than I am. So it's really, really hard to be like, look, I did this, when I'm like, someone spent 3 years designing this game, every meticulous piece of it, you know?
Well, and I imagine writing a video game, you have to write for a lot of different scenarios. So it's not just like you wrote a normal script and said, done. I imagine you having to write various alt dialogues and alt scenarios and all these different things. So I imagine that's a whole other kind of challenge as well, on top of just the giant team it takes to make a video game.
A lot of the work you're doing is in a spreadsheet. It's not as glamorous as it always sounds.
Is the spreadsheet like, this is what happens when Ray falls over, and then you have to write what Ray says when Ray falls over?
Pretty much. And you'd be surprised at how many times in different ways Ray is falling over.
He's falling over. Well, I can picture him right now falling on his back and going like,
turtling.
Oh, my thing's too heavy. And what I've always wanted to do is be in a video game and go in there and go, huh, huh.
Oh, just like the efforts.
Yeah, the efforts at the end where it's just like, and now we need you to grunt for an hour, and we'll use some of them
that
later.
Yeah, grunt like you just fell from a short distance. Now grunt like you fell from a long distance. There's nothing discernible about any of these things.
All right, Ray. Now grunt as if a ghost is pleasuring you.
Yeah.
You know the one.
If anybody's going to go for all those, it's like Dan Aykroyd. He would know exactly. He'd be like, I think Ray would make this sound if I stub my toe on a haunted gargoyle.
You are 100% right, because that was what it was like recording VO with him, where he was able to actively say, no, I created this character, so here's how they would say this, or what they would say to this, or maybe a little flourish they would add. It was very cool. Yes. It was one of those surreal, I can't believe I'm here moments of my life.
Man, well, unfortunately, this isn't a Dan Aykroyd podcast.
Did Jim Henson do the puppets, did he do the Scolari brothers from Ghostbusters too?
Oh, I don't think the Jim Henson Company was involved in those ones.
Or even in the first one, did they do?
I don't think so, actually.
The
I think that was all, because we would have come across that already in our watchings. So I don't think they ended up having an involvement. I would imagine some people from who worked with Jim Henson also worked on that kind of thing. But as far as I know, nobody worked on that.
It is always cool when you see, especially those kind of early 90s or late 80s movies where Henson Company did do some kind of practical thing for them, and you would have never thought that they did or expected it.
We're just starting to get into that era now on the podcast where they start to do a little bit more of, work for hire projects. And I have this giant spreadsheet of everything they ever did. And sometimes I'll come across something and it'll be a random movie about a bear in Alaska. And I'm like, what? Why is this on my spreadsheet? And it turns out for like one shot, they needed a puppet bear to swipe at somebody. And the Jim Henson Company built that bear. And I'm like, do we have to watch this for the podcast?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure if that counts as a Muppet.
Yeah, like is the creature shop stuff falling under your Muppet
We're a little fast and loose with some of the rules around here.
We're not quite to where we have to make that decision yet, but we are. Are we going to have to watch Five Nights at Freddy's when we get around to it? Probably so.
Probably, but also I think the more pressing one is as we get to the things we like or don't like is when we are sort of going to be, I think, called out potentially by an audience where it's like, hey, obviously you wanted to talk about Ninja Turtles because you love Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
But you want to skip over Buddy, this movie about a gorilla, just because you don't care about the movie Buddy.
I do. I think there have been a couple times, Matt, where I've had to call you out a little bit, like with the peekaboo thing that you were like, we're just arbitrarily not watching this because I don't want to.
Sam, we're so busy.
I guess
we're busy men.
You're busier than me.
Ninja Turtles is back in theaters right now with the anniversary.
Oh yes, yeah, it's playing here.
Good time to catch it.
That is true.
I love that movie. One of my favorites.
Sam,
it's in my top 4 letterbox.
Ooh, you ready for the red carpet then?
Yeah. Where was Vinkman? Did you have to think up a reason he wasn't there?
He's just busy.
He's playing golf or something.
Yeah, with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. And then he has to watch his friend get sucked into a cartoon world.
This has been when he's been sucked into Warner Brothers world.
Can I tell you guys a secret?
Yes.
I've never seen Space Jam.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Because I as a kid and growing up poor and stuff, I wouldn't really go to movies much, but I felt like I got the whole plot from the Monstars Hit 'Em High music video.
Yeah. I think that's true.
I could say Be Real from Cypress Hill is not in the movie. So if you assumed that based on the music video, unfortunately, he is not in there.
This is blowing my mind.
You're not wrong about that because especially 90s music videos for movies were essentially, let's play the entire movie over this random rap song we decided to include. But I feel like I'm just more amazed that through all of the work you've done in watching media, even that Space Jam has never come across your desk.
It's same. I feel like it got to a point where I just kind of knew it innately. Just pop culture has parodied it, mentioned it, that I felt like I don't know that I would get so much from watching this.
That would be fascinating.
It's not a deep vein. I feel like maybe that is why it doesn't pop up much. Is just because it's like, meh. It's just
Space Jam. I've seen Space Jam 2 with LeBron countless times.
Oh, wow.
More times than I can
That's
say.
interesting.
Let me ask you another question. Have the Muppets ever rapped?
Oh,
yes,
brother,
unfortunately.
have they? They really started hitting rap pretty hard in the mid 80s or so. You hear Frank Oz rapping. He's rapped a lot. He's rapped as Fozzie Bear. Jim has rapped. There was like a video that they play. It was like an HR video or something you could get.
One of the Muppet meeting films.
One of the Muppet meeting films. Yeah, so you'd have to go to work and watch Muppet training movies, and he's rapping about computers. Jim is rapping about computers. Ernie has rapped, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're rapping. They're big time rapping.
Yeah, it's sometimes alarmingly adequate, I would say, where you're like, oh, they kind of put a lot of effort into this one.
You can kind of tell that Frank likes to rap. I think he goes for it when he has to do it. He doesn't sound dead inside or anything. And Jim too. I think it's like before the show we were talking about, before we started recording, about Jim liking technology. And I do feel like that's kind of part. I mean, it's just like they liked trends and they liked to dive into those things. And I think that was not that rap was a trend at this, but like then I think too, the part of society Jim lived in, rap was like, wow, this is the cool new thing to do. Let's try it out. But yeah, they are unfortunately rapping more than I would like them to.
Wow. Because that feels like something that maybe would have been like a post-Disney initiative of, we've got to make the Muppets more relevant for a new audience. We need them rapping.
I think it's definitely that, I don't know if you experience this where sometimes you'll find something that you swear is like the most 80s thing you've ever heard of. And you look and it's from like 1978. And you're like, whoa. that actually started way earlier than I thought it did. And I think that's sort of the Muppets in a lot of ways. Like some things that people may attribute to a post-Jim Muppets is actually well within Jim's wheelhouse, and he would have been fine with them doing these weird ass things.
I mean, it's like he always knew that they were a medium for like the latest culture or whatever. Like they were a medium for popular culture.
I mean, Sam, you have to pause for a moment because you just shared with us the rapping Fozzie Bear clip,
I did
and
share the rapping.
we cannot move on until we
Share
have
rapping
been able to
Fozzie
enjoy
Bear.
this. All right.
Oh, he's got a boombox.
He sure does.
He will break dance.
Oh, I see. So it is someone in a life-size costume.
But it's going to be Frank's real voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
he will
event
have
was
recorded this.
at?
It was a Muppet
was
show on tour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was born in the wrong time. Incredible. If you all could see what we were seeing, there's people in life-size Muppet costumes dancing on a stage. It must be exhausting to dance in those costumes. They must be so heavy and sweaty.
Oh, yeah. And you have to pull something to make the mouth move, I assume. I don't know what's going on.
And Muppets on Ice was probably a thing, I assume.
Sesame Street on Ice.
Sesame
for
Street
sure
on
was
Ice.
a
I
thing,
remember, yeah. So
Yeah.
were the Muppets part of that? Were they cast in that?
No, I don't think Kermit
they
made the
weren't
jump
allowed.
over. It was
Yeah.
your standard like Cookie Monster count, those guys. I think Oscar got involved, but I don't think Kermit made the jump to Ice.
I do think I saw the Muppet Babies on Ice at the Ice Capades. Remember the Ice Capades?
Yeah.
Mm.
I got too scared at the Ice Capades that I had to go home. 'Cause-
Ooh, I
Was it just the idea of a person in this costume?
No, it was that my parents were. I was a cowardly child, and I was looking through the program, and there was going to be a part where it was like ghosts and stuff came out, and like there was like a guy dressed like a spider, I think, that I saw in
Oh.
the program, and I was like, I got to get out of here before the Spider-Man shows up. You got to help me. I'm sure it was probably the stupidest thing in the entire world, but to me, the people with the ghosts hoods and streamers hanging off of their arms, that was too scary, and I had to get out of there.
I get that. I think the only thing that scared me as a kid that was Muppet or Henson related was in the Sesame Street episode. You may remember when Ernie meets a mummy that looks exactly like
yeah.
Ernie.
Yeah.
And the mummy kind of keeps freezing, but then unfreezing when his back is turned.
Mhm.
That kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies as a kid.
I believe, we watched that probably not that long ago, and we had a similar reaction to it, being like, but this is actually kind of unsettling.
Yeah,
when
they
you
were like
think
in a
about it.
bad situation.
Yeah. And like a lot of times in Sesame Street at the end, they'll reveal like this whole thing actually was a joke, or that's
Mhm.
actually Bert in disguise. But like, there's just an actual mummy walking around.
Yeah, this is his mummy doppelganger.
I mean, have you
there.
ever seen Don't Eat the Pictures?
Yes.
Like Big Bird actually encounters an Egyptian god.
Big Bird, yeah, Big Bird goes to China and Big Bird goes to Japan. He also encounters ghosts and various like
Anytime he leaves the street,
mythological
he tends to
figures.
run into a god.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he does. He bargains with the god of death for a
Mhm.
child's soul. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Fan theory is Big Bird, this giant bird, a demigod himself.
He's
Maybe.
got it.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, don't they use his feather to weigh on Osiris's scale or something like that? That's just
Is
Wow,
he
that's
Khonshu?
awesome.
Is Khonshu Big Bird
Big Bird.
skeleton?
Do you guys think that kids nowadays, any of them, were scared watching Muppet Haunted Mansion?
I probably would have been. I
yeah.
think.
I
I
think
think I
when
might have
Scary
been
Danny
scared
Trejo
of-
pops up and says, I murdered a man, you're like, ah.
Yeah, I remember watching, like, we watched it for my birthday, was the Eureka's Playhouse Halloween special with like a mildly creepy monster in it, and I think that bar of creepiness would have been passed by Muppet Haunted Mansion for me, at least.
Yeah, Sam's such an interesting. Sam loves horror movies, spooky, like
Me too.
vintage Halloween stuff, all this stuff. But Sam is also, I hope you don't mind me saying this, a little bit of a scaredy cat.
I'm a scaredy cat. Yeah, I'm gonna go see Weapons after this, and I'm terrified to see
Oh.
Weapons.
Well, the question
But-
is, Sam, have you already read the Wikipedia plot?
No,
details?
I don't do that anymore. When I was a
Okay.
kid, sorry, this has turned into an interview
No, I
about
love
me,
this.
honestly. When I was a kid, I would read the Wikipedias and like I read everything about every horror movie, but was too scared to watch any of them. And so I was like, this must be the most scary, mind-bending, gory, horrible thing ever. And then I'd watch it and be like, this was not what I imagined it to be. So I don't do that and scare myself anymore. I just, anyway.
Just go in and
I
hope for the
love
best.
that.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask a question. Elyse, what's your history with Muppets? How come you are known as such a big Muppet fan?
I kind of just started screaming it from the heavens the moment anybody gave me any kind of platform to do so. I really wanted that to be my one-dimensional trait of this woman unabashedly loves the Muppets. My history would be just I have no memory of not loving the Muppets. And one of my show and tell items that I have here with me is from my first birthday cake. My mom saved this. It's going to date me because you'll look at this and be like, that looks ancient. It's a Miss Piggy candle that she just managed to preserve. And it's the most 80s looking thing ever.
Yeah. Did it play music or something when you lit it?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just...
I think it's just that thick wax that looks delicious, but don't eat it.
It's not
probably
made of plastic.
Full of lead.
It's a candle.
And yeah. And so I feel like I was almost... like, not that my parents were Muppet fans by any means, but I was just kind of like conditioned to love them. And kind of the age and era that I watched The Muppet Show, I watched Muppet Babies. And those were like the two gateway things for me. But what really registered for me, I like puppetry. I like a lot of those tactile mediums like claymation, stop motion, always have. But the humor of the Muppets was what really got for me. And something that I do find in later iterations post Jim Henson has been harder to capture. That's that specific kind of corny yet clever and at times even heartfelt sort of humor.
It's that Jerry Jewell magic.
That Jerry Jewell magic, 100%.
Yeah.
That gem of Jerry Jewell. And I'm wearing my favorite Muppet movie t-shirt today. Muppets made oh my gosh, Muppets Take Manhattan.
See, we are aligned. That is also my favorite.
Is it really? I've never met another.
It's my favorite. I don't even know if I can explain why, but like I just love that entire world they've created within that movie. And every character just feels like they have their own thing to do in ways that they don't in other movies. I'm also sort of a caper hater in some, like it's my least favorite of the three, but like if there was another one I could insert between those two and caper, I would probably try to bump it down even further. But yeah, Muppets Take Manhattan just really clicks with me. And that's the one I think I've actually in more recent years rewatched of the three more than anything.
Same. I just, there's so many good bits and moments. And I do think it really gets to the heart of the Muppets in that they have this goal that they want to achieve, getting Manhattan Melodies on Broadway. It seems insurmountable. They separate. Kermit has to get the gang back together. They do it bigger than ever. And also just the celebrity cameos are off the charts. And just gags like they're all sleeping in lockers at the bus station.
That's really good.
Because they can't afford to go anywhere else.
It feels the most like we've talked about, many people have talked about, but like the Muppets are often, the charm of them is that they're not that successful. And like they're down on their luck most of the time and they're trying to do something, but like rarely do they actually pull it off. And so to see them down on their luck and then sort of wildly succeeding beyond anyone's expectations. Like the idea that they show up to New York with zero money, live in a locker, and are just like, of course we can be on Broadway tomorrow. There's no problem here. Yeah. And then they get swindled.
Oh, absolutely. It's this like this pure idealism. And Dabney Coleman as the producer that kind of is trying to like take them for a ride is so good. I could talk about it forever. I think it's criminally underrated.
I like that one. Okay. I felt like I kept waiting for it to start. Like I was like, here's Dabney Coleman. He's going to be the main bad guy. Oh wait, it was 10 minutes of it. Then it's like the end is like Kermit got hit by a car. There's only 17 minutes left of this movie. And now Kermit has amnesia. What's happening?
Amnesia. He has amnesia, Sam.
Not for very long.
I think Sam's problem is that the amnesia thing happens so late in the movie.
Yeah.
It gives us our dark night of the soul. God damn it, Sam.
I'm sorry. I do like it.
Anytime anything good happens to me and then I'm walking down the street, I'm always like, this is it. Gonna get hit by a taxi, get amnesia, 100%.
You just need to wear a sign. Like, I got Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. But back to my kind of evolution. Yeah, I don't come from the Muppet fandom, well, like the Muppet creator fandom, but I do come from games media and comedy. And I don't know. That was just something that I was very, very vocal about from the start of my career. Was I love the Muppets. They are a big influence for me comedically too. And people just sort of latched onto that. And I feel like initially I got a lot of not criticism, but people like to make fun of you or whatever for like.
We are hosts of a Muppet podcast. We are very well aware of friends who like to poke a little fun.
Oh yeah. But now it's becoming cool, like, you know.
Yeah, I think I wanted to have you on the podcast for many reasons, but I reached out to you after I saw you hosting the pre-show for the scripted Muppet Caper earlier this year, and you were asking everyone before the show, what Muppet do you think you could take in a fist fight? And I was like, that's a person who needs to be on commitment, because that's the kind of conversations, that's the kind of psychopath that we need on this show to hash this out, because that's the kind of conversations we're constantly having here. Yeah. But really, one of the things that I think seals the deal, that is maybe on the surface to other people who have seen it because it is a very popular clip, is just a funny thing someone says. Is your Big Bird in the Challenger disaster clip from Smosh's Try Not to Laugh. And me watching that, I see that and say, that's a person who knows their Muppets, because that's not just a joke. There's truth to that it almost literally happened.
There's a lot of truth. And when you're faced with that costume rack at Smosh, and all you see is an astronaut costume and some, feathered feet, what are you going to do? You're going to do a Big Bird Challenger joke. And it's hard for me because I have so much reverence for the Muppets, Sesame Street, Jim Henson. I have so much reverence for it, but I also have a really dark sense of humor. So I was like, what's the best joke I can make in this moment is say that I'm Big Bird from an alternate universe where he did make it on the Challenger. It's dark, it's terrible, and I'm an awful person for making it. But people laughed. So they're bad too.
And but the fact, it is insane that almost happened. It was just like literally down to, that suit's probably too heavy. Maybe Carol Spinney shouldn't go on the space shuttle.
Yeah. You can teach Armageddon rules. You can teach a bunch of, drillers to fly a spaceship. We could have taught Carol Spinney to go to space.
Well, okay. So now everyone talks about what movies to remake with Muppets. But what
Armageddon would be a really
Armageddon? But you have to train a team of Muppets to be astronauts.
Well, first you have to train them to be like oil drillers or like first you have to train them to do that. There's 2 layers to the movie.
That's the opening montage. Is for some reason we open on Gonzo owns an oil company. We don't really know why, but he's recruiting his friends to help him drill for oil, and they're like, wow, we just became the best drillers of all time. Amazing. And then NASA Man shows up, played by Will Arnett or something, and saying like, hey, I need you to come be an astronaut.
Or they figure out how to blow up the asteroid with the vaudeville routines, Matt. That too.
Well, I like NASA coming to the Muppets and being like, we need you to handle this asteroid. And then Fozzie being like, but Kermit, only oil workers know how to become space.
My favorite movie.
Yeah. So then there's a montage of them training to drill, and then there's the next montage. Now that they know how to drill, they've got their certificates, and now they can go.
They get so dirty. They will get covered in oil.
They're practicing their animal cracker on people's bellies routines to really train for their Armageddon scenes.
On Sweetum's belly.
Ooh. But I did want to ask, you mentioned 2 show and tell items, so I'm curious what your other one is.
The other is a music box that my old roommate Jake gave me a billion years ago. And it's Kermit sitting on a little platform with a banjo.
Really cute.
And it's
That's
really
one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really cute and beautiful. And then the other show and tell item I have is a Funhouse fan made me years ago, and it's a needlepoint of Kermit as Captain Smollett.
Wow, that's great.
That is just lovely.
What? So you seem to like Muppet Babies quite a bit. Is this true?
No, actually, no.
Okay.
I don't know why. This is just kind of what I.
They're
also,
really stinking cute, I guess, is part of it. But
oh yeah, and like I was very much right at the age when Muppet Babies were at their popularity for it to hit. But I also on my wall have a Miss Piggy poster from 1979.
One of the sexy ones.
Oh, she's got a crown. She's got like she looks very regal in it. My mother-in-law, who saves everything, just had this poster in her attic.
Oh,
and
cool.
Sent it to me. It's the best.
Matt got me a Miss Piggy pinup girl calendar from the 70s,
Nice.
and the pages were all stuck together.
Nice.
So somebody
It
was
came
really
that way
proud
from
of me.
eBay, Sam. That was
Yeah,
not.
Matt-
I was not a middleman in this exchange.
Oh no. I mean, yeah, I guess there's somebody out there who Miss Piggy has to float their boat.
Let me
I think
tell
his
you
name
who
is
it
Sam
is.
Schultz.
Oh, actually, his name is who's the
Michael
guy?
K. Frith.
Yeah, Michael K. Frith, who was styling the Miss Piggy puppet and making beautiful clothes for her and putting her in these different poses.
Yeah, Michael K.
It's like-
Frith, who's worked with the Muppets in many, roles through the years, a producer and stylist and all these things. Like we blame and thank him for the sexiness of Miss Piggy in the 80s that really started to take off, because he was the one responsible for sort of the creative direction of those calendars and posters and a lot of those things.
Wow.
Like, so when you see a sexy drawing or picture of Miss Piggy, you're most likely to find Michael Frith's name underneath there in the credits.
Yes, he was making
Wow.
that pretty good.
Man,
And
doing
there's
the
like
Lord's
quotes
work.
of him saying, like, she's a sex symbol, guys.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
And he was right. She is huge. So
Have
He
you all
just
had
knew
Nina
something.
West on the show yet? Who
Ooh,
in the Muppet
unfortunately
script
not yet.
readings? Oh,
Yeah.
you gotta.
we'd love to.
The best, I was blown away by watching the script readings
Yeah.
at Nina West's performance as Miss Piggy. I understand script readings. Sometimes some people are like, I'm embodying the character with the clothes I'm
Mhm.
wearing. Other people are trying to do a good impression. Nina West just became
She-
Miss
yeah.
Piggy.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like, I don't think there's anybody I've seen kind of, inhabit that spirit of her. It was incredible.
But kind of based on that, you have you're part of that script reading along with a bunch of other comedians and Hollywood type people. And so you might not have any insight in this, but you, like you said, the Muppets are kind of getting cool again. And whenever you hear people talk about, like comedians talk about the Muppets, they're like, oh yeah, Fozzie Bear's hilarious. I love that. But why is that not translated to some of those people are like real like comedy stars throwing their weight behind a Muppet project? Is it just because it's locked up in Disney, or do you?
Why we kind of haven't had those people sort of bring a new Muppets project to life?
Yeah, like actually start working on it.
I do wonder if that is maybe like a Disney holds the keys kind of answer,
Yeah.
and they don't quite know what to do with the Muppets necessarily.
It just seems like there's a lot of people out there who do that.
or people who want to really
Mhm.
want to have a shot. Like Jason Segel, you could tell came from a place
Yeah.
of, I get this in my bones and I have a take. And I really love his Muppet movies, his 2011 movie, because I felt like he really got close to it. I felt like
Mhm.
Muppets Mayhem from Adam Goldberg and Company. I felt like, wow, there are jokes in this that feel like they could have been jokes from
Yeah.
a 1980s Muppets movie.
Totally.
Yeah. Our episode just before this one that we recorded isn't out yet as we're recording now, was with Jeff Yorks, the co-creator of Muppets
Oh.
Mayhem. And we got to talk to him about some of that. And you can, just talking to him, but also watching it, you can feel the heart that
Yes.
goes into that show and that it is made with love. And I think it's just so interesting that this thing does feel locked up and like it's allowed to play every 5 years or
Mhm.
so. And I'm so curious to like know the inside dirt of why Jason Segel didn't come back for a sequel, when he does seem to love that world so much.
Mhm.
But you do hear from time to time things leak out of like, oh, well, Josh Gad's working on something, and then creative differences, it fell apart. Or Brian Lynch wrote a script for something and it fell apart. So I think some of this is happening, but we don't get to hear about it that much.
Yeah, it's not getting to that public greenlight stage. And I wasn't able to a few years ago catch the Muppets at the Hollywood Bowl, but there was just like a ferocious interest and intention there. And apparently it was incredible. And so like doing a Muppets live touring show, can you imagine? It would sell out every single show wherever it went.
I mean, from what we heard, that was potentially part of the plans around Muppets Mayhem. That
yeah.
did not come to fruition, was wanting to tour the Electric Mayhem a little bit.
Man, there's a joke in maybe like episode 7 or something where Animal has gone missing and the Mayhem are driving around the city looking for him and they all start weeping. And I was like, this is one of the best setups and punchlines and payoff. Like it felt so classic. It was so good. I paused it and called my husband upstairs because I'm like, you need to see this.
And he's like, I'm going to need 40 years of context, please. What's going on? I am curious then what you thought of the 2015 series on ABC.
I think I need to go back and try to rewatch it again because I was so wholeheartedly behind the idea of let's give the Muppets, let's put them somewhere new, try something different. But I felt like they were a little bit neurotic and cynical in a way that I am not used to. And like stuff like Fozzie dating a woman, I'm like, where are the Muppets sleeping in lockers? Like the silliness, that silliness edge was a little bit lost for me. But I do think maybe I need to go back and look at it with less of a critical eye and maybe try to appreciate it for what it was and what it tried to do. How do you guys feel about it?
I really liked Fozzie dating a woman, and this is the second episode in a row where
God damn it, Sam!
Someone said something mean about Fozzie dating. I thought that was like when that was happening, I was like, this should have just been the whole show. I love this.
Yeah, Sam and I are both pretty strong defenders of that show. It's one of my like go-to rewatch shows, like people are with like The Office or Parks and Rec. Like ABC Muppets, one, because it's only like 13 episodes, I'll toss it on and just like plow through that series pretty quickly. But I see people's, you know, critiques of it of being a little cynical or dark or just weird sometimes, because yeah, they'll have drunken karaoke nights where Sam is falling in love with Janice, and it's like, that's a weird plot line on paper. But I also love that they took it that weird sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. It's one of those shows where I feel like I had like a weird perception of it watching it when it came out, not necessarily being super involved in the Muppet fandom and not knowing how they felt about it. And then finding out years later, like, oh yeah, we don't actually like that show. And I'm like, oh, I thought we would.
Yeah.
Like, what about it don't you like?
In the show, is it a big, I can't remember, is it a big deal that she's a woman and he's a Muppet? Like, do they talk about them being different species?
Her parents do. They go to dinner. It's like a like they do like a guess who's coming to dinner kind of scene. And they start asking questions about what if they have kids? Are they going to poop in the woods? And Fozzie gets very mad that that's a stereotype that they are calling him out on. So
see, I think one of the things I like about Muppets Take Manhattan is like Kermit and Jenny have their weird flirtations, but it's never addressed that
that's a very good point.
A human.
Yeah. That's true. I feel like it's not like every scene they're in together they bring it up. It's
only the parents, really. I think it like nobody else treats it weirdly.
Right.
But they are definitely, the Muppets are treated as like a separate species a lot of the time.
Okay.
And I think that is, you're right, something that is sort of non-existent in a lot of the old stuff. If it's the Muppet Show, Kermit's constantly flirting with any Debbie Harry, Julie Andrews, name blonde celebrity lady in the 70s here. And no one is ever like, I don't know if I could date a frog.
Yeah. When you guys were kids, was it cool to like the Muppets? I know my answer.
Well, I don't know.
I think we're all like the same age.
I think we're probably all the same age.
So I think the answer is no.
No,
but
it was on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon so much, though. Like, at least when I was a kid, the reruns were on all the time.
Yeah, but I think the cool kids were watching Mickey Mouse Club, Sam.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Yeah. I just never heard anybody really even talk about the Muppets, I guess, is more what it was.
It wasn't something I really talked about at school much because it wasn't a cool thing. It wasn't a thing that kids were really into.
Mm-hmm.
And it is weird now as an adult, and especially working in entertainment and people coming out of the woodwork and this newfound appreciation is a thing.
It sometimes feels like it's very easy to almost turn into like, you know, hey, you're a real fan?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what it was like when I was a kid. No one wanted to talk to me about Muppets.
Yeah, name 3 songs by the Muppets if you're a real
I guess
fan.
That's how like being a fan of anything is these days, though. It's so like weaponized to be a fan of something. But I feel like it's not, when people start talking to me about the Muppets, I'm always like, you don't want to actually be talking to me about this. Or sometimes it's like when you're a kid and you say that you like Charlie Brown or something, and then everybody just gets you like Charlie Brown gifts for your entire life, or or it's like, I like rock tumblers, so then you get like 100 rock tumblers. Sometimes when people talk to me about it, I'm like, you don't even know what else I like besides the Muppets. But
I think you're bringing up the Muppets with me because I have a podcast. I don't think you want to have as deep of a Muppet conversation
That's right.
as I will start having with
I
you.
could go all
So
night.
this is your
Yeah.
out. I am allowing you to walk away right now if you'd
Yeah.
like to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they assume that you're this one-dimensional person, that's all you like. All of your Miss Piggy calendars are stuck together, and you have many. And
That's right.
this
Yeah.
is-
Recently, Sam got married, and I think I talked about it in the episode. Somebody at his wedding asked, "Do you think he'll come down to like the Muppet Show theme or something like that?" And I was
would
like,
rather die.
"I do not think he will. I know for
Okay.
sure he will not."
Well, all right, guys, let's just calm down here for a second, because doing any kind of Muppet-related stuff at your wedding is not weird.
What did you do? What
And-
did you do?
Okay, and now I don't like the look that Matt has on his face.
I'm just vast. Like, I am curious because I think my wife is probably thankful that we got married before I started doing this podcast. I think if we were getting married more recently, I probably would have snuck something in there because I did come down the aisle to a Fall Out Boy song. I
That's
did
awesome.
wear a Star Wars tie clip. So there
Oh,
was
wow.
Yeah.
nerdy, uncool things at my wedding.
Yeah, so we had those little touches too, where I walked down the aisle to the orchestral version of Zelda's Lullaby from Legend of Zelda. Our cake toppers were a Green Ranger and Sailor Moon,
Ooh.
but our first dance was to Rainbow Connection, but that was my husband's suggestion.
Oh.
Like that wasn't my thing. That I wasn't like, nah, we should do this. Like I thought maybe The Cure's Just Like Heaven, which is one of our songs.
that's
maybe
nice.
we do a fun, like upbeat thing. But he was like, what about Rainbow Connection? And he's like, the original Kermit Muppet movie, not this re-recorded,
Mhm.
whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's really sweet. And we are each other's, rainbow connections in the sense
Yeah,
of whatever that means. But I swear so many people cried watching us dance to Rainbow Connection. Like it
Yeah.
got
That's what I
people.
was thinking. I was like, I would definitely be weeping to that. Even
Yeah.
I think that like, I don't know, that transcends just being like a reference to Muppets for sure. It's like that's like a part of our culture and would be really sweet and make
Yeah.
me cry. I'm
I
crying
think in
thinking
some
about
ways,
it.
yeah, it's silly a little bit. Like people definitely, giggled when they realized what the song was, but then it turns a corner when you're really listening to it. And
Yeah, that's right. Well, okay. I guess I could have done something Muppety at my wedding, but
Yeah, you
I'm not
could
holding
try
it against you, but I think people expect you to walk down in like a green Kermit suit or something.
I think if I didn't have a Muppet podcast, that would be more acceptable. But because I do, they'd be like, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
typical.
That's right.
I mean, that was
that's
sort
right.
of the vibe of like when friends were joking before the wedding of like, you gonna walk down the aisle to a Fall Out Boy song? Because they know me well enough. And I was like, yeah, you got me. Well, I wanted to jump into some questions that we got for you from some audience members, but also I just remembered that I meant to start off this episode in a very special way. I had a whole
no.
bit and I forgot. So I'm going to do it now. Middle of the show opening bit.
Wait, could we do it and then edit it to the beginning so no one knows?
I want to say yes,
feel
but
like it's
based on
not
the
gonna
conversation,
work,
I'm
but
going to
we'll
say,
see.
Sam, don't do that. Leave it right here. Leave in my mistake.
Okay.
I wanted to start off by saying that Elyse had launched a new podcast earlier this year, and it is a trivia podcast called Answer For It. And for those curious, there are many Muppet references to be found throughout the episodes, even when you wouldn't think. So, like, this episode's not about Muppets. How's that going to happen? It'll happen, I promise you. So, in the spirit of the podcast, I have done my best to prepare a couple of opening trivia questions
Oh my
Matt.
God.
Oh,
for Sam and
Matt.
Elyse.
How did you forget this?
Because we were just having, a
That's
good
true.
conversation. And then I looked down at my notes and said, oh, shit, where'd that come from? So first question. Polly Smith is a woman who started working with the Muppets back when she was hired to create costumes for the Muppet Show in 1978, and she continues to work with the Muppets and Jim Henson Company today. But Polly Smith is also known for a different sartorial achievement. What piece of helpful clothing did Polly Smith co-create in 1977?
The seatbelt. Seatbelts did not
Nader
exist.
were like, we got this, don't worry.
Before 1977, it was rope. Just tied the rope around your
Okay,
waist.
okay.
Surely there's
fashion
got to be
designer.
something better.
This is too ugly. That's why people didn't want to wear their seatbelts. They were too ugly. They got to get a fashion designer in there.
It was a helpful piece of sartorial.
Could it be like
something.
Spanx or something? I feel like that
That's
might
a great
predate.
answer.
That might predate, but that seems like something that seems like that's helpful.
Are we at the risk of getting too far away from fashion if we get to, like, because part of me is like maybe a baby Bjorn, but that's not really fashion.
Let's see. Maybe we play like a version of like hot and cold here. If
Okay.
if you give me some guesses, I won't tell you right or wrong, but I'll say if it's hotter or colder than your previous guess. You haven't said the right answer yet. I will give you that, but I will say you're getting in the ballpark.
Okay, because I think 1977. That's on the precipice of fanny pack culture.
Matt,
I'd say you're colder than you were a minute ago.
Wow, the baby stuff.
Yeah, I'd
Is
say
this some
Baby
kind of-
Bjorn and Spanx are closer to the right answer.
is this some
here.
kind of
Oh.
bra related item?
Did she invent the bra in 1977? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
She did not invent the bra in 1977. But I will say
Helpful.
you are warmer than your previous guesses.
Was it
Okay.
a piece of fashion specifically for women?
Yeah,
Or
I'd say.
more
at the
geared?
time, they definitely were saying that.
At the time, okay.
At the time.
I just meant they're not as inclusive in the 70s as we might be
Gotcha.
now in the
Okay.
branding of items.
Okay.
Give us one more hint.
Guess a different kind of bra?
Oh, a sports bra.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
sports chaps. Final answer.
Assless sports chaps.
Ooh,
They're made out of
gonna
that
make,
swishy pants material.
it's like parachute pants, but for some
but
reason
with
the
no
ass is missing.
no ass on it. Yeah.
The answer is the sports bra. The story
That's
goes that while
cool.
designing costumes for the Champlain Shakespeare Festival at the University of Vermont, Polly Smith collaborated with two friends to create the first women's sports bra called the jog bra by
That
sewing
makes
two
sense.
jock straps together.
All right.
Wow, that's amazing. It's too bad that she didn't invent it while she was making a bra for Miss Piggy, though.
Like, whoa, Miss Piggy's still a little bouncy when she
Kermit,
runs.
Can I borrow your jock straps?
I don't
Well, I
know.
think- yeah.
I really need it. I feel like that long pause that just happened was all of us thinking about Kermit's junk.
Well, I was thinking about Kermit saying specifically he didn't have testicle or like genitals in that one interview.
He was
Remember that?
being interviewed by Joan Rivers, who asked him
Yeah.
about his sex life, and he said, "Yeah, what you see is what you get, Joan."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth noting Polly Smith's achievement has been celebrated in many ways, including a jog bra being in the costume collection of the Smithsonian. Polly Smith and her
For
co-inventors. For now, yeah. I feel like a bra is something Trump might want to keep around. He's like, you know
more
what?
bras.
Bras
we
can
gotta get
stay.
more bras in here.
Yeah. Oh, but a woman invented it. Let's change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, her and her co-inventors are inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame. And since
Wow.
2005, a bronzed jog bra has hung on the wall of the University of Vermont's costume department.
This is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
I love this information.
Second trivia game. Is it a Muppet or is it an obscure comic book character?
Oh.
Sam, I hope I can trick you here because your
I feel
comic
like I'm
book
gonna be
knowledge
really good at this. But
is
we'll see.
vast. So I
Okay.
tried to go deep cuts. We'll see how well I do. I will give you the name, and you can tell me if you think this is a Muppet or a comic book character. And please talk out your reasoning. Let me know why you think that might be the case. But first up, Zippity Zap.
Zippity Zap sounds like it could be some offshoot of like Mana, something that ended up being on Sesame Street.
Like a Muppet that looks like it's been electrocuted of some a background player.
Yeah,
He got zippity zapped, and therefore his name has to be zippity zapped because that's how that works.
because that's how it works. His name was something else beforehand, but afterwards
Yeah.
only could be Zippity Zap.
Yeah. Once the electrocution happened, he was further christened zippity zap. But then, like, every comic book character known to man has the dumbest name. There's no
That's
shortage
true.
of dumb named comic book characters.
It's alliterative too, like Peter Parker. So
Yep.
this is someone's civilian name, Zippity Zap.
Yeah.
I was born Zippity Zap. I
No,
saw the future that lay before me.
And to me, zippity zap seems to imply like there may be powers that are lightning.
Sure.
Or
What else could it be?
electricity-focused,
I would
right?
hope so. Yeah.
Or you're
Flight,
fast.
really.
Yeah, maybe you're fast. You're zippity.
Yes.
I'm leaning toward comic
You
book
think comic book character? Well, do we have to agree? Because I
No,
think
you can each-
Muppet. I think Muppet.
All right, we got one vote for comic, one vote for Muppet. The answer is he's a Muppet.
Oh yeah. Who is
According to Muppet Wiki, he is an ultra hip Muppets Tonight crew member who seemed too cool for school.
He's on the zippity zap.
He is like, hey man, I'm on the zippity zap. Like
Yeah,
that is the energy he brings.
He showed up to
Oh,
set
yeah.
after having taken some zippity zap, and it was that time. I should have known it wasn't zippity zap man, which I feel like every character was whatever man.
Well, so fun fact though, there is a comic book character called Zip Zap, who was his backstory present on a cable car that was struck by lightning, which gave him, along with approximately 50 other people, ultra powers. He joined a supergroup called the Strangers, which was a group of random passengers that were all in the same cable car
What?
who banded together to fight evil and find out the source of their powers.
That's a lot of people to be in your super team. They could have narrowed it down a little
And
bit.
also just for like, yeah, you guys, I guess. Let's do this.
Gosh.
50.
Disney needs to make like a zippity zap cable car ride. I'd go on that in a
Get
heartbeat.
Guardians of the Galaxy out of there. All right, we got a few more of these. The next one is Bad Humor Man.
Bad humor man.
The
Like
man-
the
again,
good humor man.
The man suggests maybe it's a superhero because they love to just tack man onto the end of everything.
But in my heart, I'm thinking it's like the lunch encounter monster is the name of one of the Muppets,
Uh-huh.
just because in the first thing he ever showed up and he was sitting at a lunch encounter. So somebody made a joke. They were like, "That's the bad humor man,"
Yeah.
and it was just some guy.
Yeah, or a member of the Electric Mayhem is like, "That's bad humor, man." And then the Muppet thinks, "Bad humor, man, huh?" I think if it were a superhero, his power would be telling bad jokes that weaken his enemies on a kind of like granular. They're so cringy and bad that they wound you.
It does sound like something that would have been in like a pretty bad 90s comic. Okay. I think it's a comic book character.
I agree.
He is a Muppet.
Oh my
is.
God.
Specifically, he's a Grouch because he is a
Oh.
Grouch ice cream man. The bad
Oh.
humor
Of course
man.
The
No.
bad humor man.
His specialty is anchovy swirl with street pavement topping.
From Elmo and Grouchland. Never seen
But
it.
there
Never
was
seen it either.
a Captain Marvel and the Good Humor Man comic in 1950,
Okay.
Wow.
which is about ice cream. Snowflame.
Oh, I know exactly this one.
I was afraid of that.
Is this a
So,
hero?
Sam, would you want to
Do you
guess
want me to
or
just
enlighten
spoil
us? Yeah, you can
He
do
is a
that.
super villain who gets his powers by doing cocaine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, his description says he is capable of granting himself superhuman strength, speed, and immunity to pain, pyrokinesis, and the ability to give targets an instant contact high, all by inhaling cocaine.
So
Wow.
many powers from cocaine.
Yeah,
Everybody
that
should be
famous,
doing
the famous cocaine contact high.
it.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty incredible.
The closest Muppet equivalent is a Muppet called Snow Bear, who is actually a teddy bear owned by a different Muppet on Bear in the Big Blue House. So-
Oh, okay.
And the last entry is Purple Rain Man.
That's Prince. That is Prince,
Purple
artist
Rain
formerly known
Man.
as Purple Rain Man. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, that was his
This
other
is-
fourth name no one ever knew about.
This is a trick
Yeah,
question.
Prince, artist formerly known as the Weird Squiggle, and Purple Rain Man.
Purple Rain Man. When I think of Purple Rain Man as a hero, I think of Billy Zane in The Phantom.
Oh,
That's fair.
yeah. That's good. I am of two minds of this. I think that probably in both versions it is some kind of superhero, but maybe it's a Muppet that was in the Prince episode of Muppets Tonight.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this is a background joke Muppet that happened in the Prince episode because
Yep.
that was the kind of joke we would have made in the 90s on that show.
Yep. I think. Oh,
I think you're
because it's
right.
like, and it's in Muppets Tonight too, because it's like Rain Man, the movie Rain Man. So maybe it is like that feels like a Muppets Tonight joke.
Did they ever do a Rain Man bit on Muppets Tonight? They did everything.
They had to have.
Well, Sam, you might as well be writing for Muppets Tonight because Purple Rain Man is a character from Muppets Tonight who is both a big fan of Prince, but acts exactly like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man.
Great.
Oh my
I'm sure that
goodness.
was.
And
I'm
someone's
sure
like-
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And Kermit's like, who is this guy? And someone's like, oh, that's Purple Rain Man.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is masterful, Sam. Wow.
I wrote that episode when I was 10 years
Yeah,
old.
secretly. Well, thanks for playing my game, guys.
That was
That was a
incredible.
great game. I loved it.
You guys should just do that on the podcast all
That's
the time with
our new
everyone.
show. Yeah.
I mean, it was fun to put together, but also I think I may have exhausted the list of
I
Muppet
don't
characters
know.
who could potentially trick Sam because the moment I inserted an actual superhero, he found me out.
That's
so.
true.
He's the best. Sam's the best there's ever been. We all know that, and that's staying
Sam
in
is
the
great.
episode.
Yeah. No
Wow,
one's ever said a
thanks.
bad word about Sam. He's perfect. The
Oh,
best
that makes me
editor, the
feel
best
really-
friend.
That makes me feel
And
really
I'd
suspicious.
personally be affronted if that was cut out of this episode. I'd never come back.
Just saying, nobody's ever said a bad thing about Sam. I know that you're thinking in your head of all the bad things that you've heard people say
No.
about me.
Well, no one's ever said a bad thing about Sam to me personally.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
nice to hear.
So we asked on Instagram also for some questions for you. And we got some questions that I feel like I want to ask every guest from now on to answer because they're so sort of outside the realm of normal Muppet questions. And one is, how do I get into the Muppets as an adult? Like somebody, I imagine I have friends like this who have just never really watched anything Muppet. And I'd never been really faced with what's the first thing I should watch? What should I check out if I want to try and get into the Muppets?
Well, don't do what I do, which is invite people over to my house and then watch them watching the thing. Because that makes them very uncomfortable and they don't like that.
So
Gosh,
lock
this-
them in a dark room by themselves and force them to watch the Muppets, and you sit outside and wait for the reaction.
This is so tough because I don't know. And maybe I don't know anybody that really got into the Muppets as an adult. Do you guys?
No.
I mean, we got more into the Muppets as adults because of this podcast, but I feel like we have friends who are very much like Muppet haters, Muppet lovers, or
Yeah.
sort of indifferent.
I mean, I was pretty into it as a kid. I watched a lot of Sesame Street and a lot of Muppets Go to Disney World and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
I owned a Tickle Me Elmo when I was much too old to want or own a Tickle Me Elmo. I'll just say that. When those came out, you can look up how old I was when Tickle Me Elmo came out. I shouldn't have wanted my parents to get me that for Christmas, but I did.
I do wonder if maybe Muppet Christmas Carol is like the best gateway
that's
Muppet
what I was
thing.
going to say too.
It's
Yeah.
classic story. Michael Caine just carries that movie. If you were just a Michael Caine fan or watching it for his performance, it could
Yeah.
probably get you into that.
I think it has also the advantage of the music is by
Mm-hmm.
the little man.
Paul Williams?
Yes,
the little
Paul
man?
Williams. The
You're not
music's by
incorrect.
Paul Williams. It was written by Jerry Jewell,
Mhm.
right? So it
Yeah.
has a lot
Yeah.
of those classic elements to it that you're going to go back and recognize in
Right.
other Muppet stuff. I think the Muppet movie is not necessarily a bad place to start either, especially if you have a little bit of a stomach for 70s movies, because it
Mhm.
is a pretty 70s movie.
Right. There's a
But-
pacing thing that some people just don't care for older movies because they're a little slower.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's harder sometimes to sell them on a 70s
Yeah.
movie where it's
Yeah.
like, what? You don't know who Dom DeLuise is? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially in the 70s when it's like, okay, we're leaving sound stages, these very curated sets, and we're taking you out and now we're filming on location. The
That's
audio is
true.
going to be pretty bad. It's going to be kind of like, it was a different energy, the 70s, that can be a
That's
little
true.
tough.
Or it can be like very warm and invite. Like I find it like, oh, I love to live in this little weird 70s world. But yeah, I think a lot of people would not like the pace of the Muppet movie, probably.
Yeah.
It's also, not to just cast like aspersions against everyone who exists in the world right now. But I feel like there is not necessarily a huge desire for a lot of wholesome, slow content right now. Like a lot of things that are very popular are a little bit more cynical, a little darker. And so I feel like if somebody's a fan of The Boys and you're like, hold on, I got the Muppet movie for you, that's a hard double feature.
Yeah.
So-
I do wonder if like the Naked Gun reboot and then the Scary Movie reboot kind of ushering back in this era of spoofs,
Yeah.
which the Muppets really in a lot of ways are akin to that kind of humor. I do wonder if that might be like a little bit of a gateway back in or
That's true. The Naked
I
Gun is
mean,
the Muppets' big opportunity to come
Yeah,
back.
now I'm like, just give Akiva Schaffer a
Dude,
Muppet movie
that'd be
because that
awesome.
sounds amazing, and I had
Oh.
not thought about that until just this moment.
That'd be
Yeah.
incredible. That'd be incredible.
Okay, well, we know you're obviously an avid listener, Akiva. So if you're out there, just go make a Muppet movie. Come on.
Don't make it weird. Just take
Come
the idea, run
on.
with it.
Yeah. We'll take what, 3%? I think that sounds fair. One of the questions we got was just if you had ever watched Fraggle Rock, and if you haven't, what's stopping you?
So
that user is Fraggle Rock News.
Yeah, to be fair, that is the account Fraggle Rock News. They might be a little biased in their questioning, but
I gotta play this one cool. Come on, Elyse.
Their fingers over the button to unfollow Elyse right now. Like,
albeit I haven't seen too much Fraggle Rock because I felt like it was harder to find as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest exposure to Fraggle Rock, or my kind of earliest, was Muppet Family Christmas, which I loved. And any time of year, I'd be watching Muppet Family Christmas. And I actually should probably go back. I should watch the new Fraggle Rock to, because I think the Fraggle Rock just also skewed a little bit younger feeling than some of the Muppet humor too. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
but.
It definitely is much more of a kid show.
Mhm.
And I was going into it not excited to watch Fraggle Rock, but I feel like it's just like such a dense, like nice world that they build, and the characters are so lovable that by the end I was like really sad that it was ending. I love
it is
all
like
those guys so
one of the
much.
least cynical things you'll ever watch.
Yeah.
And just you're watching like episode 4 and these Fraggles are almost dying and you're like, I am
They almost die a
crying
lot.
at these 2 socks in a cave in Canada almost dying. What's happening to me?
It's really different than other Muppet projects, but kind of in like a good way. It's like I think they even said this while they were developing it. It was like, maybe this is what Dark Crystal should have maybe been more like. It's like a little bit silly, but still like in this really thought out world.
Maybe, though I die on the hill that Dark Crystal Age of Resistance is some of the best high fantasy in the last 10 years.
Age of Resistance, I think, makes you forget how boring that movie is in parts.
Yeah.
Because I think Age of Resistance is so action-packed and very fun that I think going back and watching Dark Crystal after watching Age of Resistance, you're like, huh, this is a little slow. Like,
Yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But all right.
Yeah, there's a ton of lore that's buried in a Bible somewhere that we don't have access to, that they brought into Age of Resistance that made it feel whole and robust and great.
Yeah. Well,
Jim
I think
went a
that's
little nutso with that stuff.
Yeah, Jim Henson, needed other people around him to keep him in line sometimes. And I think Dark Crystal is a great example of that, where this man wanted to release that film with, no English dialogue from the Mythics or the Skeksis, no subtitles.
Wasn't he talking to George Lucas about some of this stuff too?
I mean,
Crystal, I think
I am to imagine George was like, hey, man, maybe pull it back a little bit.
even George Lucas.
Because it's like, but then, Fraggle Rock is a show that he started saying, I want to make a show that will end war. So Jim's goals.
Lofty. Yeah.
Sometimes people got to rein it in and be like, well, can we just try to make a good puppet show for now?
Yeah.
And worry about the war later?
I also do love the 2 wolves inside George Lucas who are like, you got to rein it in. By the way, can I tell you about this character I've been working on named Jar Jar Binks? He's like, what?
Jim would have loved Jar Jar Binks for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a good time to ask you a question that somebody sent me that I think feels like a trap. But just because they prefaced it to say, do not look up anything beforehand. Just ask her this.
Oh.
So I'm supposed to ask you about Minch.
So at Funhouse, we would do this Star Wars series, and my colleague Jacob asked me if I would puppet a hollowed out Yoda backpack that he basically put a tennis ball in and converted into a puppet. I said, sure, because I always say yes to things. I like people taking chances on me. I always appreciate it. So I said, yes, 100%, sure. Whatever you need, Jacob. So I did like kind of my bad iteration of a Yoda voice and puppeted this backpack. But I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Love it, appreciate it, but not a huge fan in that I know a deep well of knowledge about the extended universe. So I was kind of Googling, like, what's some obscure Star Wars facts about Yoda that I can kind of bring up and have some flavor. And I saw that Yoda's first name allegedly is Minch. So in the video, I said, like, know you that Yoda first name Minch, or I said something like stupid like that. And then everybody, like, and our friend Rahul was in it, who he's like a massive Star Wars fan, and nobody knew this. Everyone was like, what are you talking about, Minch? And I was like, look up, you will. Wikipedia, you will, And they were like, can I swear? Sorry.
Don't please.
They were like, holy shit. It says here, Minch Yoda. George was going to call him Minch Yoda. So it kind of created this the backpack it was no longer Yoda. He now became Minch. And, Minch developed his own kind of lore and stuff. So yeah, people still, will talk about Minch. And I know the clip of Rahul having that moment of recognition has circulated and stuff. But yeah, Minch is Minch. He's disgusting.
I'm watching them pour soda in his mouth and then him barf it up. That was very funny.
Well, presumably onto your hand.
It was in a tennis ball. I think it seems like it was going.
I don't know if it ever got to me, but yeah, I'm like, what do you do if you put liquid into a puppet? He's got to vomit it up violently. So,
do you think Yoda's a Muppet?
I am the snob that will differentiate between the Muppets are the Muppets, and then there are the creatures, and then there's puppets, and
I think Yoda gets to be a Muppet. I feel the same way, except I think Yoda gets to squeak in and be a Muppet.
My favorite thing is that Sam will argue for this, even though the only thing that makes Yoda a Muppet is that he's performed by Frank Oz.
Yes.
Because the Jim Henson Studios didn't even make Yoda.
He's got a Muppet quality.
But I also have to note that there now is a Minch in Star Wars.
Wait, who? What?
I'm looking on Wikipedia. There is a Minch who's a member of Yoda's species, who was a Jedi Knight who lived during the Golden Age of the Republic.
Wow.
That's weird.
So I think they did put Minch into the canon.
Or they retroact. They're trying to erase me.
Star Wars is good about Minch has always been here. Yeah. We promise.
Well, that was the big thing. Was like George said, if you wanted to know Yoda's first name, it's Minch.
I've never really thought about if Yoda had a first name or not.
Yeah, and I really didn't think I would have been dropping
What's
anything.
Jar Jar's middle name?
Yeah. Jar Jar Jar.
It's like Bam 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 from the Flintstones movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was dropping anything groundbreaking, but these big Star Wars fans, this was news to them. So I don't know, but he brought a lot of joy to people, and that's all we can ask for.
As we finish up here, I realized I should ask you the final question here, Elyse, and Sam, I'll ask you as well. The question that started off, this episode existing. Which Muppet do you think you could take in a fight?
I think Gonzo has old man strength, secret old man. So I don't think I could take him.
Oh, I thought that was meant you could take him because he got old man strength. But you mean like, I was in the war.
Yeah.
You don't want to try me.
Yeah, he's surprisingly strong. Mm-hmm. Miss Piggy, no way. She knows karate.
She could chop you right across the room.
I honestly think Kermit, I think we would probably be equally matched in physicality and strength.
I think almost anybody could beat up Kermit the Frog. I think it would be so easy as to be almost sad.
Have you seen those arms? Yeah. They're so spindly. You could just go crack. So easy.
Yeah. And so if Kermit is who you could beat up.
I think so. I think Kermit for sure.
Be the easiest answer.
I feel like there's more Muppets you couldn't take in a fight than you can take in a fight. Like Sweetums, Thog, gonna destroy you. Animal will rip you to limb from limb like a chimpanzee.
A lot of those monster ones would actually kill you. You would be in trouble. All the ones with real hands, like the Swedish Chef, he'd stab you. Beaker,
New Zealand with the boomerang fish,
chop your head right off.
Yeah. Marvin Suggs would just hammer you to death with his mallets.
Then there's some of them that have taken so much, they've taken so much damage and pain in front of you that you just know you could just keep beating on them forever, and there's nothing that you could ever.
And Gonzo's gonna love it. He's gonna get some sick pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, it really is just Kermit. Maybe that's the whole thing is like the only one is Kermit.
I will say Link Hogthrob. I think those are glamour muscles.
He'd cry.
Glamour muscles.
They're airbrushed on.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like a not the face kind of guy.
He would scream not the face.
Yeah. And even some of the Sesame Street baby monster guys.
But I don't think you're allowed to say you could beat up Elmo.
Listen to my whole sentence. They would be like how like maybe a young wolf could still kill you. Like they're animals. They still have that like survival instinct where they'd be just like and you'd be dead. So I think it's just Kermit. I think
Just
that's
Kermit.
the only
I agree.
one, yeah.
What about 100 Kermits?
I think I could beat 1,000,000 Kermits. I think I would just stand there and go like this, donk, 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 and they would just go, ah, ah, ah. And that's it.
Well, before we get out of here, I want to ask you both a quick, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week? We've talked a lot about Muppets this week, but I'm curious if there's something that each of you enjoyed this week that was not Muppet related.
Too bad we did this 2 days ago.
Yeah, for Sam and I, this is a little bit more difficult because we literally just had this conversation 2 days ago. I can tell you for mine, I'm still just watching MCU things. I finished Agent Carter season 2, which is when it got canceled. It's fine. It's a pretty good show, but it's canceled, and they definitely thought they might have a season 3 based on the end of that season, which is kind of a bummer.
That's always the worst when you just don't get a conclusion.
Yeah, well, they got a pretty nice conclusion, and then they like teed up a thing that could lead them into a season 3, and it's like, well, I guess that'll never be solved.
Ah, that's a bummer. I like Sam, like comedy and wholesome stuff, but then also the darkest things. So I've been playing Silent Hill 2, the remake, and just loving it. And yeah, that's where my brain's at.
Too scary. I like scary stuff, but scary video games give me a problem because
you have to actively do it.
Yeah.
I have a very vivid memory of playing one of the Silent Hills. I was going to say the one that opens in a town with fog, but I think that's all of them.
I think that's Silent Hill.
Yeah, but I remember like just being a kid playing that in the dark at like 10 p.m. and just like looking behind me because I kept hearing chains rattle.
Yeah.
And I played probably 5 minutes of that game and went, no, I'm never playing this game ever again. I am too scared.
Yeah, you definitely have to like get past that and then get into the puzzle stuff, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah,
I've
but
got
maybe it's
this.
a daytime game for me.
Yes, 100%.
Did you ever play Eternal Darkness on GameCube?
No, but I know it. Did you play that?
That game was too scary. Yeah, I played it back when it came out, when it was like, it actually did look like it was turning your TV up and down and like turning it off and changing the input. And like
so
bugs
cool.
were crawling across it. It was really cool, but it has a lot of jump scares. And I was not like, I was a coward still. I was probably like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something. Too scary. But I saw Freakier Friday last night.
Oh.
It was not very good.
Oh.
But it was nice to see Lindsay again, and she was good in it. And the end is like triumphant for Lindsay Lohan. I feel like she's like on stage singing, playing guitar.
Okay.
Is the story too much about the younger girls?
No.
That was my fear from the trailer, is that like we weren't getting enough of Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis.
It's a complicated question because
that's fine. I only care about 5%.
No, partway through I was like, I kind of wish I was seeing more Lindsay Lohan. So it must be, you must be right. That even when she's not, like, I wish I was seeing Lindsay Lohan be not pretending to be a teenager.
That's my problem, is that they announced the movie and I was like, sweet, bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, bring back Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
They're going to swap again. I'm going to love it. Great.
Yeah.
And then in the trailer, they're like, actually, we've added in 2 teenage girls and they're all going to swap with each other in a weird random way. So you don't get to see Jamie Lee Curtis being Lindsay Lohan or Lindsay Lohan being Jamie Lee Curtis. You got to care about these 2 new characters.
Exactly,
and I was like, but I don't.
That's what we want.
Jamie Lee Curtis swaps into the friend, just like
of her
unrelated
granddaughter
to all of them. And that part feels weird because it is like, she doesn't really have much to do.
No.
So
be like, cool, anyway. I guess I'll just go home to your parents and get dinner cooked for me. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, basically.
At this point in my life, I'm like, wait a minute. I just get to get taken care of and have disposable income. Like, that sounds pretty great.
But you also have to go back to high school.
There is a part of it that really resonated with me where they are in high school, but they're in detention. And the teacher's like, you have to sit here for an hour and not do anything but read. And the 2 older ladies are in the younger people's bodies and they're like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna take all responsibility off my plate for an hour. Amazing.
Yeah. That sounds great.
All right, well, next time on Commitment, I can't promise you what you'll be hearing because we're still in this weird Matt coming back from parental leave era that I'm so sorry for. My wife had a baby. We love her, but it did kind of throw the podcast,
It's ruining my life.
You did say in the last episode that just got released, the D&D one, Matt's stupid baby.
You weren't supposed to
So-
listen to that.
Well, I'm going to listen to this podcast, especially when I'm not on it. But I think we might be getting back on track a little bit next week and watching some Muppet content. So we might go back into our commitment timeline a bit and watch some content from 1989. But again, I won't promise anything. So for now, Elyse, where should the people find you?
You can find me at Elyse Willems, mostly on Instagram and on youtube.com/@answerforit show, I think, or just following the podcast Answer For It on any podcast platform, wherever you listen, Apple or Spotify, every single week. I also host a show for PBS SoCal on their YouTube channel where we play video games called Won't You Be My Gamer? And I feel like I just pop up. I'm in the walls. I just crawl around, pop up here and there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. This was a blast.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, and I can highly recommend Answer For It if you want to go catch up. There's not a ton of episodes yet, so you can get in on the ground floor here and
Thanks,
catch up.
Matt.
And it's a lot of fun.
Thank
if you liked the quiz portion of this episode, it's like that.
Probably better than that.
It is better than mine. You're right.
No, I don't know. Those questions were very well delivered, pretty great and obscure.
You have some lovely co-hosts. Do you want to shout them out real quick? Your co-host
Yeah.
on Answer For It?
So my husband, James, he is one of the panelists on it. And then AJ LaCasio, who you may know as Gambit in X-Men 97. He's a voice actor. He's in a bunch of stuff. And Zach Anner, who is just one of the funniest people that you will ever meet. He is all over the internet too.
Another one of those in the walls kind of people who you're like, I know him, but I don't even know from what.
Yeah.
I just know him from the world.
And he's just a comedic, switchblade. Like he's so funny.
No, it's a very fun show. And I think, highly recommended. And there will be Muppet references. Well, I want to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com for all your commitment needs. I feel like as far as commitment needs go after the conversation we had here, I think our t-shirt that says, I appreciate the Muppets. I make no assumptions about your appreciation of the Muppets. Do you want to talk about the Muppets? Is sort of the vibe of this entire conversation we just had. You can, keep up with us. Follow us on social media at CommitmentPod or at commitment.com on Blue Sky. And you can always follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.